Good day, everyone, and welcome to the South African YouTube live stream today. It's a very important day, a very momentous occasion as we unveil our partnership and relationship with Google South Africa. There's going to be a lot of news coming throughout the day. So to get the mood started, I'd like for you to cast your attention to the screen and watch a wonderful poem from renowned South African poet Sisa Ntshona that just sets us in the mood for what we can expect for the rest of today, as well as give us a little bit more insight about South Africa.
I was given more than 10 names on the day of my birth, and I have earned many since. Maleta, Mamdakwende, Kwangeshe, Vilemkube. These are the names of my forefathers who made everyday history. They are knitted into my breath. It is how I introduce myself. Clan names are how we carry the past to meet ourselves. South Africa is the place of many names. We peek through the majestic God's window to read stories preserved for us in rocks and sand dunes. We grind secrets and healing out of the plants which are native to this place. Caves are breathtaking gallery walls exhibiting our history. In bodies of water, from the mouth of the Limpopo River into the Indian Ocean, are traces of how the country maps itself. We ask grand mountains to tell us how they call themselves. And the Drakensberg is not just Drakensberg, it is Ukhahlamba, the barrier of spears. Table Mountain is Hurikwaho, the beautiful mountain in the sea, a monument to the first people of this place. I wonder if animals have their own clan names, Mitupo, and whether elephants, for all their memory, remember the stories their own ancestors witnessed. In Africa Burwa, we trace blood that flows back for centuries through shared names. It is how we make family. We are not done creating history. In the scraps that remain, we quilt ourselves into exquisite print. In the gedichte, in liedjies, poems, and songs that we write, the fashion that reimagines village tradition, the township lives framed in high resolution, skyscrapers like vibrant graffiti against a wall every day. So we write new names. And many of us know this place by one name, home. But we are always ready to make new family, to add new names in the fabric of our story, like yours.
A wonderful way to start this morning's proceedings. My name is Alistair. I head up Global PR and Communications at South African Tourism. We're coming to you from all over the world today, some in South Africa, some in the UK. So it's truly a global virtual launch to mark an occasion that is momentous in the history of South African tourism, as well as the current situation we find ourselves in these difficult and strange times. We will hear a little bit more about the partnership, but I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our key speakers who will be part of the launch this morning or this afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We have Dr. Alistair Mokoena, who is the country head for Google South Africa. We also have South African Tourism CEO, Mr. Sisa Ntshona. We have Ms. Luisella, who's head of global operations for Google Arts and Culture. And then also speaking later this morning, we've got Ms. Yolanda Mlonzi, who is the Senior Analyst, Government Affairs and Public Policy for Google South Africa. So lots to talk about this morning. Again, just welcome to all those who are watching live on the YouTube stream. We are so awesome to have you with us today, because we're certainly going to be sharing with you some exciting information around content, some exciting information around digital training, and it's just a really, really wonderful day to be part of the South African tourism sector. So without much further ado, I'd like to call on Dr. Alistair Mokoena, who will just sort of set the scene for us and take us through what the partnership entails. Dr. Mokoena, over to you.
Thanks, Altaf. Good morning and welcome, everybody. The late President Nelson Mandela once said South Africa is the most beautiful place on earth, and boy, was he right. We are proud of our beauty and heritage, the rivers, the valleys, the mountains, the sunsets, and the beautiful weather. Described as the new gold, tourism plays a critical role in driving inclusive growth as well as creating much-needed jobs. Thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen a loss of jobs and business closures. And according to the UNWTO data, globally, 1 in 10 jobs directly created by tourism. Tourism represents 9% of Africa's global trade, and the tourism industry drives inclusive growth. And I think globally, women make about 54% of the tourism industry workforce, while in Africa, it's about 69%. This is a time for preparedness and innovation as we expect more travelers to start their journey online. On YouTube alone, we've seen a 60% increase in searches for sightseeing tours and 22% increase in searches for holiday inspiration. So consumers are spending quite a bit of time on the net. It's for this reason that we as Google have joined forces with SA Tourism to capitalize on digitalization, on data and insights in aiding business economic recovery in the tourism sector. Today's Google's Arts and Culture launch is the first of many joint initiatives that we'll be working on with SAT as part of our broader joint tourism recovery campaign. And I think the broader campaign will encompass the following areas. One is upskilling SMEs and tourism officials in digital skills, product-based solutions whereby Google products such as Maps and YouTube will be leveraged by tourism SMEs, digital marketing solutions for DMOs to reach more travelers online, and lastly, more virtual experiences and creative solutions like we have today to encourage people to actually do their research online. We're excited to welcome you to the launch of Share South Africa and Explorers Paradise, which we hope will spark interest for locals to explore our country and for users from all over the world to virtually experience South Africa as the way to travel to the country again. With that, I'd like to invite Mr. Sisa Ntshona, the CEO of SA Tourism, to say a few words. Thank you.
Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone. So excited to be here today. It's a culmination of many months of work, basically, to get where we're at. As Alistair had said, tourism is such an important sector within South Africa. It is a main contributor to our GDP as well. And, a sense of it is that pre-COVID, if we can still remember those days, we had 10.2 million international tourists come to the country, bringing with 89 billion rands worth of forex, helping with our balance of payments as a country as well. It employs 1.5 million people in it. And I think as a sense then, it gives you the scale and the importance of South Africa as well, is that the workforce that is employed in tourism constitutes about 9.2% of the total workforce in the country. We still have a lot of headroom and we want to drive quite aggressively. But then again, came 2020, especially the first quarter, COVID hit us quite extensively. And we've seen that globally, as we speak at the moment, the entire sector has regressed to 30-year levels. So we had levels last seen in 1990. All of that decimated within 1 year. And that gives you a bit of a sense of the shock that has kind of hit the space in the perspective. There are businesses within the tourism sector that are really hard hit. They've not had any months of trading. And as a result, the revenue line is not moving at all, whilst the cost line is really under pressure from their perspective as well. So this is really a time and a period to think innovatively and find new ways, basically, of working. Now, where do we find ourselves? Recovery becomes quite key and parcel to what it is that we want to do. An estimated 600,000 tourism jobs are at risk due to COVID-19. Now, however, our recovery needs to be embedded in doing things differently. And I take a leaf from what the president had said in the latest State of the Nation address, that the private sector, together with the public sector, needs to be the way we go forward. So collaboration is key. Partnership is key towards the same objective, that we need to reignite this sector, this very important sector that is, tourism as well. Alistair touched on some of the key things that we want to deliver, and we want to stress that the benefits of this collaboration must be for the sector, must be for the players in the sector, This includes the people that work in the organizations such as South African Tourism and also the 9 provincial tourism authorities. It includes the operators, and I'm talking about the B&Bs, and I'm talking about the lodges, and I'm talking about the tour attractions, etc., must also benefit from this. And then lastly as well, the policymakers. Data is so important that we've got to make informed decisions. When you've got limited resources, you want to make sure that you can allocate them proficiently as well. Then lastly, we want to make sure that the world does not forget us as a destination, that the time may be not right now for everyone to travel, but through your laptops, through your iPads, through your phones, you are able to engage with South Africa on a regular basis. And when the time is right, both where you come from and also South Africa, you're able to visit us again. But in between then, this is how we're going to make sure that we're not forgotten as a destination. I think this collaboration then really puts South Africa at everyone's, access as well. It's also important that we also keep up with the changing consumer needs and wants. And what we've seen is that now consumers, travelers, are looking for immersive experiences. They're looking for SMEs. They're looking for the outdoors. And this is then allowing technology to become an enabler, shining the spotlight on those previously not visible to everyone around the world, moving from offline to online. And I think that's what we're really looking forward to. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us as well. We're really looking forward to it. And the tourism sector is really ready to kick hard. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sisa, for that overview of the partnership and our expectations from the partnership. Just a reminder to the audience, please do ask your questions. There's a chat function on the side of your stream. Please feel free to jot down your questions, where you're from, and post it to anyone on the panels. There's a lot more big announcements to come through. Before we go to one of those announcements, which is a rather exciting announcement around content and how we utilize content and where we utilize content, I'd like us to have another look at a recent TVC that SA Tourism has put out, again, showcasing the value of the tourism industry to South Africa, how we play our part in the tourism industry by traveling locally, by being involved, by staying, by going from province to province, because the tourism economy is vital for job creation. So yeah, have a look at this and do enjoy this video.
Our beautiful South Africa, land of the resilient. Yazmos, we are who we are because you are who you are. Because without Umandla Namagenge, Ikasi can never be Ikasi Lamagasi. Because we are a people whose hearts are bigger than our setbacks. Because we know firsthand the importance of giving a hand. And when our country needs us, we've always managed to pull together. Vanta JP Makaplan. So let's travel safely and eat amangina kwa mai or try Dani Mariki's special chop and dop there at the corner cafe down the road. Because when we do, we feel more than just our own stomachs. Sidla song for. Let's sleep out under the stars overlooking the Indian Ocean. Because everyone at Auntie B's B&B needs us to be more than they can ever be. Because our adventures support dreams and keeps the economy keeping on. Let's not take this time sitting down. Because our country needs us to stand up and travel responsibly. Because when we travel, the whole of Mzansi thrives. Because there is no place like home. Because South Africa.
Well, just another sort of insight into what the tourism industry plays for the people of South Africa and how you can ensure that the tourism industry benefits and play your part in economic growth and job creation as well. It's just a wonderful sector to be a part of. And South Africa itself is a wonderful country, and you'll see more of that as we get through the rest of the program. Up next, I'd like to introduce our speaker from outside of South Africa, who's currently in London. I won't ask her how the weather is because it's amazingly sunny here in Johannesburg today. I'd like to call on Luisella Meza, who's head of global operations for the Google Arts and Culture platform. Over to you, Luisella.
Thanks very much, Altaf. It's a pleasure to be here. Probably not nowhere near as sunny as in South Africa, but let me start by saying how exciting it is to be here, how much we are really looking forward to unveiling this big project today. And let me start by saying a big thank you to you, Altaf, to the CEO Sisa, and to all of the team at South African Tourism, who has been an amazing partner in this adventure. We're going to take a step back for a second to take a look together at what Google Arts and Culture is. So why don't we start by saying what is Google Arts and Culture? Google Arts and Culture is a platform that aims to make more culture, more arts, more accessible to anyone, anywhere for free, and a sector partner for those institutions, just like South African Tourism, want to make more culture more accessible. And next slide, please. We have started 10 years ago. It's been 10 years of Google Arts and Culture this year. We started off with just 17 museums, 17 cultural institutions from just 11 countries that back then came on board. Today, there are more than 2,000 museums and cultural institutions from all around the world, from more than 80 countries that have come on board on Google Arts and Culture to make their incredible heritage accessible to anyone around the world. Next slide, please. And in a little bit of greater detail, when we talk about Google Arts and Culture, we don't just talk about the fine arts. We talk about more than 6 million images of arts, culture, archives, projects that vary from projects focused on travel, crafts, gaming, projects focused on the preservation of endangered sites, a lot of different angles and a lot of different stories, tens of thousands of expertly curated stories by specialized curators have come online on Google Arts and Culture for anyone to enjoy. We go and take a look at what happens on Google Arts, about Google Arts and Culture in South Africa, what has been happening for the past years. We started working with partners in Google Arts and Culture in South Africa since the very early days, in fact. We started off in 2012 with the Nelson Mandela Foundation. It's been a great partner. All across the years, we started off with digitization of the archives, and then we continued. We went on digitization the whole of Robben Island and many other projects focused on many different angles of the culture of South Africa, from fashion to travel to women's rights. And generally speaking, the culture of South Africa is so huge that it's obviously this is a drop in the ocean of the many cool things that our partners have brought online, but we're looking forward to do even more together with our partners in South Africa. And today, we're very excited to launch this new project that we are unveiling for the first time. So why are we here today? We are here to unveil the project Share South Africa, coming online on Google Arts and Culture with South African Tourism. So there are today hundreds of images in super high definition that speak about South Africa, organized in many different stories, and more than 60 virtual tours and musical tours of South Africa. And we're going to take a look in a second to all of this and how nicely it comes online. But Yolanda, our colleague, will show us in a little bit of greater detail. So for now, let me just encourage you to come online on Google Arts and Culture, enjoy and share the project available at g.co/share South Africa. And I'd like to invite Yolanda Minonzi, our colleague in South Africa, to please take us virtually by the hand and show us what this project is all about on Google Arts and Culture. Thank you, and over to you, Yolanda.
Thank you so much, Luisella. Hello, everybody. I wish we were in the same room to experience this together, but due to COVID-19, we can't. But I'm super excited to talk about the Share South Africa Google Arts and Culture project, because as Sisa said, it's important for us to put our country on the spotlight to make sure that we are not forgotten. And most importantly, what we're seeing as Google, as Alistair said, is that people are searching for travel inspiration. They want to travel, and content online is that much more important to keep people inspired and curious about South Africa. And hopefully in the near future, they will definitely come and visit our shores. So as Luisella said, I will be taking you through the website to guide you and show you the different types of content that is available. So as we've been developing this project, we have been struck by just how vast and varied the country is, with so much to discover. South Africa really is an explorer's dream. And let me tell you, as a South African myself, I had learned so many things. So here we have the continent's southernmost coastline. From the rugged cliffs to the sandy shores, you can enjoy 360 panoramic imagery captured by Google Street View across the country. And you can also walk virtually around the different locations. If you wish to extend your virtual journey, you can do so by exploring more than 55 individual sites, which we have captured for your pleasure. You can see there the unmissable views that we all love. To continue your virtual experience, we thought it would be nice to sit back and enjoy some of South Africa's wonders, like the Books Luck potholes, where you can enjoy some music and take in the views from Mpumalanga. We have also left some fascinating facts about South Africa's natural beauty and thought it would be fun to test your skills and knowledge about your own country. So don't worry if you don't know the answers, you can look further down where you are guided to learn more about the fun facts. A trip to South Africa, as we all know, wouldn't be complete without experiencing the Big Five. So you can take a look there and enjoy yourself. If you're a photographer or you like snapping photos like myself, we have a series of curated videos to show you some of the best photo-worthy spots, Instagrammable moments around the country. Of course, there's more to South Africa that people probably want to know. As Google Arts and Culture, we've got many cultural partners across South Africa that you can look into, like Iziko Museums and the Nelson Mandela Foundation. To wrap up, I'd like to show you 500 stunning images from South African tourism's collection that you can look into, and some exhibits that will show you a few tips and tricks in terms of how to explore South Africa as you explore it virtually and hopefully one day in person. So that is the website. Please do go look at it for more information and content. It is at g.co/share South Africa. Thank you so much. Now I'll hand over to Altaf.
Thank you very much, Yolanda, and thank you to all the other speakers who've all sort of given inputs into the partnership and just the way forward for this relationship, because I think it's mutually beneficial. I think, as Sisa mentioned, from a tourism recovery strategy, there's quite a bit we can do, and how we get involved and how we get the sector involved from a digital perspective. Just a reminder, you can post your questions on the chat line that's on the side of the stream. You can chat there and we'll ask the questions to the relevant speakers. I'm going to kick off though with some questions of my own, and just to Alistair. I mean, why is it important from a Google perspective and a Google South Africa perspective to be working with South Africa Tourism on a partnership like this? I mean, what just maybe explain the importance.
Thanks, Altaf. We as Google, we committed to help in the recovery of the tourism sector, and we believe it's our responsibility to use our technology to actually help society. You'll remember that early in 2020, after COVID hit, we spent quite a bit of time with government, helping them to keep people productive at home and to keep kids in school and so on. And a couple of months later, we spoke about economic recovery, looking at the kind of support we can give to small businesses and so on. So I think for us, we see this as benefiting hugely in the SME sector. We want to train people with digital skills. We want to use our platforms to really drive economic recovery.
Thank you, Alistair. Just staying on the theme of training and recovery and SMMEs, Sisa, the SMME environment in the tourism sector is a very important and vital element for us. How do you see the SMMEs benefiting from a partnership of this nature?
You know, part of the objective of actually coming out on the recovery side, to make sure that we can address some of the shortfalls that we had previously. What we've seen is that there are few popular spots in the country, and many people don't think or look beyond that. Now, however, we know that there's a vast array of things to do, activities that are actually championed by SMEs. But here's a problem: a lot of them are actually offline, so they're not searchable, you know, from either South Africans themselves or to the world. And what this will do is essentially enable them to move from offline to becoming online. Once they're online, then they become searchable. Once they become searchable, the revenue opportunities are actually enhanced. So this is a perfect example how you use technology as an enabler, that a tourist sitting somewhere in the south of France is able to search and find, you know, a B&B or a small little homestay in the rural parts of the Eastern Cape, as an example. And that to me is part of the excitement of linking the two.
Luisella, a question for you, just in terms of your partnerships with tourism bodies on arts and culture. What's been the sort of the unique element or the thing that tourism bodies have to be aware of when they get involved with Google Arts and Culture?
Thank you. That's a great question. Well, first off, let me take a step back. We've been partnered with tourism organizations from all around the world, all the way from Nigeria to India, from Japan to Italy, all with the same ambition to make more of the cultural heritage or for cultural travel more accessible. What to keep in mind when working with Google Arts and Culture? Well, we make available to our partners various digitization technologies, such as, for instance, the virtual tours, leveraging the Street View technology, or the digitization of artworks and artifacts in super high definition with special photo cameras called the art cameras. So we're always excited when tourism organizations would like to make more of their heritage more accessible across various digital forms, whether it's virtual tour, whether it's a special artifact, a special archive material that comes online for the first time. We are making available digital storytelling tools. So we're very excited when there are great stories to tell on the Google Arts and Culture platform, and we provide these tools and training for culture organizations to make the most of it.
Sisa, a question that's been going around the country in this time is about media perception, and it's just about the way the country is perceived and what comes out of here. A partnership like this, firstly, partnering with a huge name in the world, which is Google. But how does this help us from a perception perspective, and how do we utilize the platform also to showcase South Africa positively?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting question. You know, what it does, it gives South Africans a voice. And if you understand how things are moving towards, user-generated content and stories are actually much more authentic, but they're also much more real, if I can put it that way, right? So essentially, then what this does, it allows us to tell the story from our own perspective. We've had previous bumps along the way. I can give you an example of how the world thought that all of Africa has Ebola. I can give you a bit of an example how essentially the thought around the drought in Cape Town as an example, that all of South Africa doesn't have water. Well, we're in a similar situation right now. And I think part of what we want to do is to tell the stories from our perspective. Let me give an example. The first one, to tell the story that the number of positive cases in South Africa is reducing on a daily basis, quite drastically. Then secondly, as well, to say we've now officially rolled out our vaccine program. That in itself gives a different perspective from some of the stigma that's attached to the South African variant, as if there's no other variant in the world. So essentially, then this gives us that opportunity to tell the stories from an informed perspective. Then also as well, it's user-generated content to me that really becomes part of the exciting part. That becomes inclusive. This platform is for the benefit of all South Africans and those that are in the tourism sector. That is inclusive in itself and actually brings us as a country to the fore, to ourselves and to the world as well.
Thanks for that. So following on from that question from Sisa, or that comment from Sisa around user-generated content, Luisella, the question that's that will be asked and that people are asking at the moment is, look, we've got 500 pieces of content. If you want to contribute, how do you how do you get your content sort of out there? Obviously, there are some when it comes to licenses and rights images and stuff, but what is the best way to get content out onto the platform?
Absolutely. So, as you said, Altaf, all the content is being curated with the experts by the experts at South African Tourism, and all the content is being shared by South African Tourism. So the best way is to get in touch with the organization to contribute to your own content. And obviously, we look forward to an expansion of the project. For us, today is obviously a big day. It's also, however, at the same time, the beginning of a journey to grow more of the content, the beautiful images, artworks, artifacts, virtual tours that you see online today. We are hoping that these will grow farther out in future phases, and we are hoping more people will get in touch with South African tourism to share and contribute as the project grows.
Luisella, staying with you, because I mean the question is obviously around content. What are the kinds of content that sort of makes this platform viable? So, is it specific? We're seeing questions about how do we do content with voiceovers? Is it just still images? Is it videos, virtual tours? Because you've got street views, we've got stills, we've got videos. So maybe touch a little bit on that in terms of the content that goes out on the platform.
Sounds good. So absolutely, Google Arts and Culture makes a variety of tools and technologies available to cultural institutions that have come on board and have chosen to share more culture online. So these tools allow a variety of media to be used, from still images to images in super high definition, virtual tours, digital stories through the storytelling tools that we make available. It's entirely up to our partners to decide which tools to use and how to use them. We provide free training and access to all of the technologies, and then our partners, just like South African Tourism did, decide which tools to embrace, which tools to make the most of, depending on which stories they want to tell, of course.
Alistair, a question for you, just around, we're talking content platforms now in Google Arts and Culture, but you touched on in your presentation about other offerings. What are those offerings from a digital marketing, a training perspective that is something the industry can make use of on the Google platform?
So, Altaf, when you speak to small business, they basically mention three needs. The first need is give us access to capital and resources, give us access to tools and skills, and also give us access to markets. So late last year, we launched economic recovery packages where we're saying we're going to help about 500,000 small businesses acquire digital skills. We're going to train them. There's free training available in Google Skills for Africa, where we do 3 to 6 month courses. We partner with the likes of Coursera to actually provide certificated IT courses. So we will do that. We will help businesses get online by helping them build websites through Google My Business, which basically means that a physical business has a digital presence, which means that anybody in the world can find you online, which is great. We will help you create marketing and advertising paraphernalia through your marketing kit. And then lastly, we will help you access markets through Market Finder. So really, it's about capacitating small businesses with digital skills so that they can participate and compete anywhere in the world. It's about helping them market themselves. It's about helping them access advertising on the net. And lastly, it's really about ensuring that they can actually grow and create more jobs through taking advantage of digital sort of platforms and technology like Google Search, YouTube, and the like.
Thanks, Alistair. There is a question or a comment from Aubrey about how does the partnership help local authors who capture the heritage of townships and photographers who have pictures to share, would like to share virtual galleries. Aubrey, from a contact perspective, you can contact media@southafrica.net. That's the email address that we have for you with your queries around, and for anyone who wants to chat about their content and what they have to offer. So it's media@southafrica.net. Obviously, there are processes involved in getting the content onto the platform, and we have to comply with that. So just so that you are aware, you can contact us through media@southafrica.net. Look, we're going to have to wrap up soon. It is a virtual launch, and I understand, that we've set an hour for this, but I think, Sisa, just if you look we're having our SMME workshops now as part of our Summer Different campaign, our provincial campaign that we've been going around. We've been showcasing some of the Google opportunities for the SMMEs to get involved with. What is your message to these SMMEs in terms of encouraging them to get involved? Because this is the future. This is the way we're going to lead our recovery and become more visible.
Yeah, I think as oh God, I just nearly called Luisella Lilizella, which is actually quite a good name. This is the start, right? And we've got to look at this as continuous improvement. That in essence, we are looking for ideas to also grow essentially. The goal at the end of the day is to ensure that tourism happens domestically and also internationally, that we can restore those jobs that are actually linked to the sector and get businesses going again, right? Now, what's so special about these SMEs? A is that they offer authentic, differentiated experiences. Secondly, as well, if you start to see and understand the consumer trends, everyone is moving away essentially from urban areas and looking for outdoors. They're looking for rural as well. And I think South Africa, just geographically, plays very well into that space. And as I said earlier on, what this then does, it shines a spotlight on those hidden gems. I mean, how many times have you heard about secret, lovely, romantic places that you just don't know how to connect to? Well, this then kind of shines the spotlight. It helps us as South Africa and tourism as well to make sure that we don't get over tourism or concentration in the popular place of the country, but actually starts to spread out, in other areas as well. And I think these are just some of the benefits. So we've got to look at this as continuous improvement. We want the engagement with the industry. We want the engagement with the SMEs. We want the engagement as well with the people of South Africa. And I think, Altaf, you mentioned some of the contact details. Media@southafrica.net, as an example, becomes then part of those platforms that we're able to exchange ideas and actually influence what actually comes through at the end of the day.
Thanks, Sisa. Just to confirm that email address for you guys to send through your queries or your content ideas for the platform, it's mediaq@southafrica.net. I repeat, mediaq@southafrica.net. Adele will also put the email address out on our YouTube page on the chat section as well, so you'll have it there as well for your reference. Like I said, we want to wrap up, so I want to take closing comments now. Luisella, just from your side. Obviously, we've seen other partnerships on the continent, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, but a South African tourism partnership, this must be exciting because of what there is to offer in the country.
Absolutely. As I said earlier, today is a big day, the day of unveiling the project with South African tourism. But we are looking forward to many more days like this, many more days of growth and expansion of this project, and many more projects with South African tourism and the partners, the cultural institutions, the museums, the cultural organization of South Africa that want to come on board on Google Arts and Culture. We're very much looking forward to that.
Alistair, your final comments, but if you can also, there's a comment on the stream just asking about, how effective would it be for small businesses to have their own website and working through some of the products that Google offers. So if you can include that in your final comments as well as we wrap up.
So thanks, Altaf. We're very, very excited about this. Google's mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and helpful. So we want to help small businesses. The minute you're on the internet, you are competing with everybody in the world. You have, sort of boundless access to consumers. So I think, I really want to encourage SMEs to take advantage of this. This is the digital age. You really want to take advantage of digital skills and really transform your business. So good luck.
Thank you, Alistair. Sisa, reserving the final comment for you. Just again, maybe just to touch on, this is the first of many partnerships that we want that's key for our recovery. So if you could maybe just give your final thoughts on how you see this partnership actually going on for more than just a year or 2 years or 3 years, because this becomes an ongoing, but also then the importance of partnering with the private sector.
Yeah, recovery is going to be difficult. It's going to take some time, but believe in me, we're giving it all we've got. And the answer lies in collaborating, partnering with those around you that are actually becoming experts in different places as well. This also, I think, sets the trend and the example as well as to how the recovery can actually be brought through. Inclusivity lies at the center of what we want to do as well. but also headline growth. We've got to make sure that we're at the front line when the gates open, that South Africa restores its kind of place again. Then ultimately, the digital presence is so important. Not only is it important to show up, but it's also how you show up as well that ultimately influences the travelers or the buyer's decision as well. So all of these are skills that need to be imparted to each and every single player out there so that we can put our best foot forward as a country to say, listen, we are open for business. Excited.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, those who are watching from all over the world on our South African Tourism YouTube page on the live stream, this was a major announcement for South Africa Tourism. This is a major announcement for South African tourism, partnering with Google South Africa. In many ways, we've seen on digital training and then just the digital marketing skills that are out there, SMME involvement, but more importantly, front-facing the launch of the Google Arts and Culture platform, which showcases the diverse beauty and breathtaking views and spots and sites of South Africa. Just a reminder for those who want to get onto the Google Arts and Culture platform, it's a simple link, g.co/share South Africa. Again, g.co/share South Africa. That will take you straight through to the Google Arts and Culture page so that you can share this with your friends. There's social media links. You're able to link to social media from there and share the content widely because, as you all know, South Africa is a beautiful country and we are ready to welcome you back and welcome visitors from all over the world, but also welcome and also allow people within South Africa to travel South Africa because our tourism recovery strategy is starting at home and domestic tourism is leading the way. To Dr. Mokoena, to Sisa, to Luisella, and to Yolanda, thank you very much for taking off your time this morning or this afternoon to share with us your insights and to share with us the way forward for this partnership. And to all those who've joined us from around the world and in South Africa, thank you very much for joining us. Be safe, travel wise, wear your mask, sanitize. We are still in a COVID pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, but we can resurrect the tourism industry if we are responsible and we travel safely. From myself, Alistair, thank you very much for joining us. And thanks to all those behind the scenes who've made today possible from both the Google's team and the South African tourism team. We really appreciate your efforts. Enjoy the rest of your day.